At this time, I'd like to introduce some special guests who are with us today. And if I could ask them to come forward if they're here. But I do want to acknowledge everyone who's had a significant impact in this project. First, our mayor, the Honorable Maritza Bevilacqua. Our Deputy Mayor and Regional Councillor, Michael DiBiase. Regional Councillor, Mario Fair. Regional Councillor, Gino Rosati. Ward 1 Councillor, Marilyn Iafredi. Ward 2 Councillor, Tony Corella. Ward 3 Councillor, Rosanna Di Francesa. Ward 4 Councillor, Sandra Young Recco. Ward 5 Councillor, Alan Sheffman. And Steve Kanalakos, the City Manager of the City of Vaughan. And Tim Simmons, Executive Director of the City of Vaughan. Also, I'd like to recognize a few of our staff who are here today. Johnny Misley, our Executive Director of the OSA. Welcome, Johnny. Bjorn Osiak, our new Business Development Director. David Bocci, who is our Facilities Manager and was critical in putting this project together. And with that, I'd also like to introduce some of my peer group. Joe Camacho here with us today from the Board of Directors. We also have Gino Rossi, our League One Ontario Commissioner. And a special thanks also to Jim McPhillamy, who is the President and Managing Partner of Charlotte Independence. Also Michael Bierman, who's the Chief Operating Office of the Charlotte Independence. And Mike Jeffries, who's the head coach of Charlotte Independence. And with that, I'd also like to welcome Tim Bezabachenko, the General Manager of TNC. Jason Bent, our head coach of TFC Youth. And also at the same time, I'd like to acknowledge Earl Cochran, who's the Deputy General Secretary of the CSA. Welcome, Earl. And we also have our head coach from TFC, Greg Vannon. I saw Greg in earlier. Welcome, Greg. Great to see you here. Congrats on yesterday's win. Looking towards the playoffs, Greg. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask our mayor, His Worship, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. This is indeed a very special day for the City of Vaughan to have such an incredible opening, as well as to celebrate the partnership with the Ontario Soccer Association, as well as TFC. TFC to me is above and beyond being a fan, so I'm obviously happy for yesterday's results. Couldn't happen to a better team, Montreal. I want to express to all of you present really that this is the realization of a dream to bring professional sports here in the city of Vaughan, to build an incredible facility that will be home to so many future stars as well. We get to see them already down at the BMO Field, the product of this great organization, MLSE, TFC. And to me, it really speaks to the incredible investment. Ron, come up here, because I want to be close to you today. Ron Smale, we worked very closely together on this particular project. Ron, it wouldn't have been possible without you. I want to say that in a very public way, that without your help and the Ontario Soccer Association, and without the cooperation and good wishes and good spirit here in the city of Vaughan, this would not have been a reality, but I want to publicly thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Can I ask Tim to say a few words? Tim?
Thanks, Ron, and I also would like to reiterate what the mayor said about Ron. About 2 years ago, I came to Toronto, and one of the first people within the soccer community that reached out and offered his support was Ron Smale. He expressed and shared his vision for soccer in this province, and we quickly realized that we shared a similar vision for growing the game and creating a pathway for all of our athletes. So, Ron, thanks for your support. Likewise, when this project got off the ground, I think it became apparent that we had a avid soccer supporter in the mayor and someone that we would like to grow closer to within the community. So thank you all for coming today. We believe that the partnership with USA and the City of Vaughan is one of the three important events that have happened to TFC so far. The founding of TFC, the building of KTG, and really this partnership, because we think that we can do some really innovative and creative things with our players. We think that we can grow the game of soccer, and most importantly, we think that we have great partners to help achieve those goals. So thanks for coming today, and go TFC.
Thank you very much. Game on.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of TFC, we would like to have a small token of appreciation given to you. Thank you so much. So let's have a round of applause.
This afternoon, it's a matinee match day at the Ontario Soccer Centre as Toronto FC2 looks to get back in the win column. Raheem Edwards, he will be in the lineup today looking to secure 3 points for the home side. He will be joined by Luca Uccello, who has received a special honor for his young soccer career earlier this week, and Skylar Thomas, who's been a presence on the back four for Toronto all season long, will be charged with defending this afternoon. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan. I'm Anthony Antonio, joined by Terry Dunfield this afternoon. It's Toronto FC2 hosting the Charlotte Independents. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for both sides. Starting with Toronto, led in goal as usual by goalkeeper Quillan Roberts. And it's a strong defensive back four for Toronto this afternoon. Marc-Anthony Kaye, Clement Simonin making his second appearance in a rehab from a leg injury, Skylar Thomas and Wesley Sharpie. You see Luca Uccello, he was named earlier this week to the training camp for Team Canada under-20 squad as they begin their preparation for the World Cup, and Mo Babouli takes his place up front as well. For the visiting Charlotte Independents, they have a few of their regular players not in the starting 11 this afternoon, including their leading goal scorer Ryan Finley, but it's their number one keeper, John Berner. He's got some impressive numbers this season, 3 shutouts in 11 matches. And he is in the goal this afternoon for the visiting Independents as they make a push for the playoffs in the USL. Last Saturday, Toronto fell 2-0 to the New York Red Bulls, wrapping up a stretch of 5 games in 15 days. TFC had what head coach Jason Benton, several players referred to as the best first half of their season. However, they were not able to net that opening goal, and New York took advantage, scoring early in the second half. Despite more pressure from Toronto, the Red Bulls doubled their lead and finished up with a 2-0 victory, second consecutive 2-0 loss for TFC2. This is the first ever meeting between these two clubs, Toronto and Charlotte, here this afternoon. They'll square off again down in Charlotte 10 days from now. Terry, this is one of the stingiest defensive teams in the league, the Independents, and with Toronto struggling to score goals, what type of game do you expect to see this afternoon?
We might not see a whole bunch of chances from open play, so if you do get a chance, it's important that they take it. Also, it puts an importance, I think, on set pieces. Set pieces now, the delivery must be good, and defensively and attacking, we need to see the best stuff from both teams.
As mentioned, Luca Uccello named to the Canadian squad for the under-20s as they prepare World Cup preparation. Marcus Godinho and Amika Ononye also named to that squad from TFC2. Terry, this is a program that you've been able to take a part of in your career. Talk about your experience playing with the under-20 team.
Yeah, I was lucky. About 10 years ago, I played in the under-20 World Cup in Argentina. It's a long process to get there. To the build-up camps, this is just their first now, and it's actually taking place in Toronto, so it's good for the players here. But You then go into your qualifying, and then if you're actually lucky enough to get to the tournament, it's an incredible experience. And unfortunately for us, we had Brazil and Germany in our group, so we didn't get very far, but to play against a young Kaká was amazing.
So Uccello will be in the lineup today. He has seen his role decreased in recent weeks, but being awarded for that achievement this afternoon, as he will start in midfield. Another lineup note, Adam Bouchard will be under suspension for this afternoon's match. He received a second yellow card in the last match on Saturday in the 80th minute and was ejected, of course, so he will be under suspension for one game this afternoon as well. We have a new player for the TFC2 this afternoon, joining from the TFC Academy pool. Reshan Phillip is been added to the lineup, so he will be member of the reserves, along with Jordan Hamilton, Sal Bernal, Manny Aparicio, Massimo Mirabelli, and Amika Ononye. There's going to be certainly one player that you're keeping your eye on for the Charlotte Independence today, and it's a former teammate of yours.
Yeah, Bilal Duckett. I played against or with him in Vancouver for the Vancouver Whitecaps maybe 5-6 years ago. We signed him just out of Notre Dame. Quite a clever kid, actually. He graduated with an engineer degree from there, so we were questioning what he was doing, but good to see him still playing, and all the best to him.
There are, as mentioned, their leading goal scorer, Ryan Finley. He has 5 goals to lead the club. He is not in the starting 11 this afternoon, but he will be available off the bench. And another one of their better players, Jorge Herrera. He's got 3 goals this season. He is not in the starting 11 or on the reserves list for the Independents this afternoon. This is a big game for Charlotte. They currently sit in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. They are 3 points out of the final playoff spot with 2 games in hand on 6th place Pittsburgh. They were actually in a playoff position before the games yesterday, and Pittsburgh securing a victory and moving back ahead of Charlotte into that final playoff spot. They enter the match on an 8-match unbeaten streak. They are 4-0-4 in that stretch, including victories in their last 2 games, and they earned just their first road victory of the season on Wednesday in Montreal with a 1-0 victory. So, Terry, I'm sure you've experienced these sorts of matches on both sides of it. For Charlotte, they're going to be a team that is desperate. They need the points. For Toronto, almost a little bit of playing spoiler. Tell us about the mindset that players on each side might have heading into a match like this.
I think Charlotte come into the game where the record's not been great on the road. I know they won on Wednesday, but that'll be in the back of their mind. So if they could get an early goal and then sort of sit behind the ball, I think that's where their game plan will be. And for TFC, it's can they play like they did last week in the first half again, and maybe take one of the opportunities that they create. I thought defensively they were very good, and going forward they were attacking with a purpose.
We'll have more following the national anthems here at the Ontario Soccer Centre.
Now let's join together in singing the Canadian National Anthem.
TFC2 look to block Charlotte's path to the Eastern Conference playoffs this afternoon. It's TFC2 and the Charlotte Independents from the Ontario Soccer Centre. Terry, always special to hear your national anthem right before you kick off.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to play in leagues all over the world, and that's one thing in North America that's different. Before every game you hear the national anthem, and lucky enough I played for Toronto and Vancouver, and when you hear that national anthem playing, and even now the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up and you've got your arm around your teammate, you're jacked and you're ready to run through a wall at that point.
Toronto will be looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. Charlotte will be looking to extend an 8-match unbeaten streak. As mentioned, they're a very stingy defensive club, these Charlotte Independents. They sport the 5th best goals against average in the USL with 1.22. They will be concluding their 3-game road trip on Thursday in Wilmington, and it's important to note for them that after wrapping up that road trip, 3 of their final 4 games are at home. So as a team that is looking to make a playoff push, it's always preferred to have more games or as many games as possible on your home turf to take advantage of that schedule.
Yes, of course, especially in this league where there's so much travel involved, and some of the teams travel by bus or coach and plane, and you're sort of trying to cut as many expenses as you can. So when you can wake up at home every morning and you're on your own training ground all week working on things, it makes a huge difference.
Now for Toronto, this is their second to last home match of the season. They'll wrap things up Saturday afternoon against Montreal. And then they conclude the season with 4 matches on the road. We saw them start the season with a very lengthy road trip, playing 9 in a row away from home, and then finishing 4 on the road. Unfortunately for Toronto, it didn't work out in terms of a playoff race this season. They're quite far out of the race in the Eastern Conference, but had they been in the race, that would have been quite a difficult challenge to overcome, to have to play those final games away from home.
Yeah, of course, but you can look at it another way, where when you go on the road, you can set up really defensively, and that might suit TFC at the moment because they're not scoring a bunch of goals, and try to catch the team on a counterattack.
Now, we weren't able to speak to head coach Jason Bent today, but you've known Jason for a long time. What do you think his message might be to the players this afternoon, and what sort of strategy might he be looking to employ?
I think all week that he'll be showing them the video of the first half and how well they played and looking at the positives from there. I think defensively they worked as a unit. They didn't press in 1s and 2s. They pressed as a group, and they were able to turn the ball over in good places, and unfortunately weren't able to get anything from it. And then on the other side, going forward, I think the 2 in midfield dictated the game really well, and I think that's the reason why we see Luka again today.
The back 4 of this squad, as I mentioned, the back 4 starting today, Clement Simonin and Skylar Thomas playing the center back positions, both very tall guys, certainly very physical players, and that should play to Toronto's advantage.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen from Skylar so far. He's been a beast back there, to be fair. Anything in the air, he's gobbled up, and maybe just to add a goal to his game would be nice, maybe on a set piece. And with TFC's center forward struggling a little bit, that'd be very important.
Skylar Thomas does have 1 goal this season. It did come off a set piece. It was a winner in the 89th minute against the Charleston Battery back in July, giving Toronto their first home victory at the Ontario Soccer Centre this season. We're underway here at the OSC. The Charlotte Independents in the all-white kits with the blue numbers. They're moving from left to right on your screen. TFC2 in the customary red kits, red shirts, shorts, and socks, moving from right to left on your screen. And we are just underway here in Toronto. Again, Matt DiNicolantonio with Terry Dunfield here, bringing you all of the action in this afternoon's match. That's goalkeeper Quillen Roberts, who will now push it forward for his defender Skylar Thomas. Wesley Sharpie, the native of Florida, who has been a mainstay when healthy on that right side of the Toronto back line. He's able to push it out off the Charlotte player and will earn himself a throw-in in the early stages of this match. Thrown in, intended for Babuli. It's Boubacar Job, who got a foot to it momentarily. There's Jay Chapman. Chapman working through. Chapman will send it out for Uccello. Uccello with an attempt there. It's deflected off Patrick Slogic, and it will go out for an early TFC2 corner.
Great start there from Chapman, driving at the back 4 there. He committed one of the center halves to come out, and he was able to slip a pass to Luka, and we ended up with a good corner.
And it's going to be Mo Babuli who will take the corner. We saw him take over the set-piece duties from Jay Chapman midway through last week's game against New York. Jay Chapman, we sort of mentioned, was struggling with being able to place the ball in an opportune position. This is played in. Looked like Thomas was the intended target there. It's knocked down. Uccello will loft it in, and it's headed back forward by Henry Kalungi. Simonin is up there to win it back for Toronto. Uccello, now Job. And Toronto will scramble to get back in their formation as the fullbacks were, or the center backs rather, both Simonin and Thomas were pushed up forward on that corner and will now resume their positions at the back line. There's Babuli. Chapman able to play through for Babuli. Lost control of it, and now it is taken by the Independents. That comes onto the foot of Daniel Jackson. Jackson will work into the middle. Thomas will step up and able to get a piece of that to disrupt the movement of Daniel Jackson. And Thomas there did a very good job. Didn't panic, really just stood his ground and was able to get a foot to that ball as Jackson was trying to burn by him.
Yeah, Jackson ran into the Great Wall of China there. The big fella stepped in, good tackle, ended the New York attack.
There's Andrew Ribeiro, the captain for Charlotte. Will swing it out onto the left flank. Now push through, Slogic. And he is not able to control that, and Quillen Roberts will send it out to midfield. Chested down by Michak Jerome. And that looked like it was played out of bounds, but it will be kept in. Raheem Edwards had it for a moment. Now Chris Manella. Mark-Anthony Kaye for Clement Simonin.
I think today we might see a little bit of the slower tempo. It's cloudy, but it's quite humid and hot right now, so you can't go 100% for 90 minutes. So you see both teams keep the ball a little bit more.
Edwards looking there for Chapman. Deflected and comes down for Carlos Alvarez. Now into the middle, Ribeiro. Kalungi, and back for Bilal Duckett. Jerome. Duckett with pressure from Babuli. Will push it forward. That's a foul on Simonin. And drawn by Tomas Zahorski will be the free kick for the Independents.
Simonin got a little bit too tight there and ended up pulling him down. It wasn't necessary. He had cover behind him from Skylar Thomas. A little bit too weaker.
And Charlotte will try to do something with this free kick here. Fans, don't forget to visit the new USLsoccer.com, get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub. Michak Jerome stands over this one, lofts it into the area. Quillen Roberts will go up, handles that, no problem. Simonin. Intended for Chapman, but it is broken up by Ribeiro, and Chris Manella does well to win that back for Toronto. Simonin able to get through two tackles. Edwards, Mark-Anthony Kaye. Babuli. We'll give and go with Edwards. We'll tip it in for Chapman. Chapman's onside, and it's blocked either by the keeper or the back pressure of the defender, Michak Jerome, but it's a great chance for Jay Chapman. That is gone out for a corner for Toronto.
Fantastic bit of play there. Mo cut inside, played a great 1-2 with Edwards. Everyone thought he was going to go square out to the fullback, played a great ball in to the center forward. Chapman coming through, and unfortunately it didn't quite settle for him to get a shot off.
It's a second corner in the first 10 minutes for TFC. Babuli plays it short and low for Chapman. Now gets it back and will try to loft it in. And the right leg of Andrew Ribeiro will block that and send it back into Toronto territory. Roberts sends it up, and it's headed back by Patrick Slogic. There's Wesley Sharpie. Poor pass there, intended for Manella. Martinez was able to get it for a moment, and now Toronto has it back. Quillen Roberts up for Chris Manella. Out to the right back, Wesley Sharpie. Luca Uccello. Sharpie.
Luke has kept the ball well there, but I think that was an opportunity he could have turned and gone forward.
Simonin. Looking to spring Boubacar Job, and just a little bit out of his reach, it floats out of bounds. Job unable to pull it down. Thrown in by Kalungi, and it's Toronto who will pull it down. Uccello. Babuli. Chapman. Swung out for Sharpie. Now Edwards. Sharpie making a run down the right side, and he will get to it. Crossed in, out of the reach of Chapman, headed forward. There's Manella. He's taken down from the back from Zahorsky, rather, and it's a free kick Toronto from about 25 yards out. Good spot for Toronto, and they will have another good scoring opportunity here.
Manella did really well there to get in front of the defender. The defender had no option but to drag him down. This is perfect range for a free kick. It's not too close in, so they're able to get it down over the wall.
And it looks like it will be the man who drew the foul, the captain, Chris Manella, who will stand over this. A little bit of an interesting choice. We've seen Jay Chapman and Mo Babuli both being selected to take these types of kicks from this area before. There's Manella, curls it just wide, however.
Good effort. He didn't quite have the pace to beat the keeper from there, but he did well to draw the foul. And it's somewhat disappointing when you've got a great opportunity like that and you're not scoring goals. It's important that you hit the target.
Goalkeeper John Berner will set up his teammates before booting this back into play. Headed forward by Jackson. Manella chests it down. Unable to get around to Piccolo. Babuli spins away from one marker. That's Martinez. Able to push past Marc-Anthony Kaye, but Clement Simonin in support will clear for Toronto. There's Manella, back to his keeper.
Good composed play there from Manella. A lot of players would have just lashed that forward, but he's got the ball under control and played it back to Q.
So offside flag up here on Charlotte.
Having Simon in the lineup, one of the way his left foot's so good, you can actually start attacks from back there. And one of the things I'm sure we'll see as the game go on is a diag from his sweet left foot.
Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Chris Manella, excuse me, whistled for foul here. As we see Andrew Ribeiro's come to the sidelines. Looks like he wants to change his cleats. And for a player maybe that's not accustomed to playing on this sort of artificial turf surface, deciding a different pair is more optimal this afternoon.
Yeah,
is that something you've ever had to do in the course of your career, change shoes in the middle of a half?
The coach won't be happy if the other team scores, but normally on artificial, you've only got one option really, which is a molded stud. So unless he's getting some blisters or somehow his sponsor's got hold of him and he needs to change colors.
Marc-Anthony Kaye. Skylar Thomas. Sharpie. Cello.
One thing evident from the TFC team that you can really tell is how comfortable they all are on the ball, and that sort of bodes well for the academy. They've been trained really well.
There's Jackson moving into the area, and that cross is deflected by Job, and will go out for the first Charlotte corner of the afternoon.
You can see the Charlotte player get in behind. Job does well to make a last-ditch tackle, but good attack from Charlotte there.
Make sure 61 doesn't come out.
And this will be DePiccolo with the left foot, plays it in, headed away by Skylar Thomas. Comes as far as Enzo Martinez. Martinez opts to let it roll out of bounds and take a throw in. Thrown short. Buccello does well to get a foot on that, and we'll start the counter for Toronto. There's Babuli. Met well there by Slogic. Ooh, right into the face of his teammate there. That was Carlos Alvarez on the receiving end of a very swift pass. Right into the face, it looked like. That smarts a little bit. Edwards able to pull it down for Chapman. Chapman able to work his way around Ribeiro. Ribeiro not pleased with the call from the official there. Thought maybe Chapman initiated the contact there and wrapped his arm around. What did you see there, Terry?
For me, Chapman tricked him. It was a great feat from him. It was a good diag from Sharpie over to Edwards. Edwards' touch was inside. At that point, I'd like to see Edwards take the player on one-on-one.
Goal. There's a goal for Toronto. I think it's an own goal off the foot of the Charlotte player, Patrick Slogic. It was Skylar Thomas who crossed it into the area. There were a couple of Toronto players right above the ball. And I believe Patrick Slogic has put it into his own goal and given Toronto a 1-0 advantage.
Oh, and the 14-minute own goal by number 14, TFC to take the lead 1-0.
TFC there take a quick free kick, similar to what the New York Red Bulls did to them last week, and at the minute they take any kind of goal, so an own goal is brilliant.
It is number 4, Patrick Slogic, who was sliding across there. Is that a smart play from a defender to slide down there, pointing at your own goal?
I think the defender had to do something, because if he left it, the center forward taps it in, but obviously you don't want to stick it into the back of your net. You need to sort of steer it around the corner. But credit to TFC there. It was good quick thinking on the free kick.
Charlotte looking to get one back, and a great save by Quillen Roberts with the outstretched right hand. It was a good strike from Enzo Martinez. It will be a corner for the Independents.
Great strike here from the Charlotte player. He puts a bit of waz on it there, inside out. Q's such an athletic keeper. Great touch to tap it around the corner. No, goal.
And it's a quick response from the Independents. And in the span of about a minute here, Charlotte has answered right back, and I think it was Patrick Slogic who got it right back. So he puts one into his own goal, and a minute later, he put one into the net of the opposition.
Yeah, he comes forward looking to redeem himself. Great corner kick, but shocking defending really from Big Skylar. He needs to do better there. Also possibly Q could do a little bit better. He's stuck on his line.
That's the 3rd goal of the season for Patrick Slogic. I guess 4th if you count his own goal. But his 3rd goal for the Independents, and they have drawn level here. It's 2 quick goals, and there's another opportunity, and Roberts has done well to stay composed there, and is able to catch it neatly. We are just past a quarter of an hour played here in Toronto, and it's a 1-1 scoreline. Toronto FC and Charlotte. Luca Uccello looking to spring Mo Babuli with that through ball, but well out of his reach.
Right idea there from Luca, but the pass was a little bit straight and the run was a little bit straight. He needs to be hitting Mo on the diag there or coming out to Edwards here.
There's Ribeiro. He's going to push his teammates forward. That's Duckett. Jackson will run onto it. He's onside behind Simonin. Jackson still centers. His cross in is defended well by Toronto.
Fantastic ball there from Duckett. He must have learned that since I played with him last, because he didn't have that in Vancouver. the player does well, cuts inside, and a good block from Skylar.
There's DePiccolo. One touch finds Martinez. That's Enzo Martinez. Pushes in. There's a strike and a good save from Quillen Roberts. Mark-Anthony Kaye as Toronto will counter quickly. A lot of open space for Kaye on this left flank. There's Mobabuli and Chapman. Chapman able to twirl around Ribeiro. Can't get by the second defender, however. It's Manella now. Kaye. Uccello. Simonin.
We're seeing some fantastic attacking play here from both sides. Some of the intricate play in and around the box is great.
Chapman. Babuli. There's Job. Job into the area. Job was still with it, and he tried to feed Mobabuli, and it was not strong enough of a pass. Toronto maintain the attack. Simonin for Kaye. Crossed in, out of the reach of Babuli, and it's headed out by Slogic. Will go for a Toronto corner. And for Patrick Slogic there, a little bit of an interesting choice. It looked like if he had just left it, it would have gone straight out of bounds and it would have been a goal kick.
Yeah, at that stage he needs a shout from his keeper. Maybe the keeper told him to just deal with it and put it out. He looked like he was caught in no man's land a little bit.
Babuli takes the corner. It comes down for Skylar Thomas. Mark-Anthony Kaye, and he's done poorly there, as that is well over and wide of the goal.
Yeah, the attack fizzles out a little bit there. Kaye's better than that. He definitely has the technique to whip it in.
Just shy of 20 minutes played here in Toronto. We're level at a goal apiece, and John Berner looks like he slipped a little bit taking that goal kick. Slow to get up. Uccello, Manella, and now Sharpie. Thomas. We'll just send it back for Quillen Roberts. Simonin. Simonin pushing forward. Edwards will try to run onto it. He does. He has some support in Mark-Anthony Kaye. Also Luca Uccello. One touch for Kaye. Kaye still working forward, and it's cleared now by Jerome. Follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider, join club conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. Simonin. Edwards. Babuli able to chip that past Duckett. Babuli with a strike, and it's gone wide. It's been deflected by a Charlotte defender, and it will be another Toronto corner. This is, I believe, their fourth of the opening 20 minutes, and a very impressive offensive attack from Toronto so far today.
Yeah, we'll see here. It was great football from TFC to earn the corner. Good flick over the head by Mo. Great technique. He cuts inside. A lot of players are looking to pass there. It's good he's got the confidence at the moment to strike from there. The defender just nicks off him for a corner.
Babuli strikes it, and it's cleared by Jerome. Uccello for Manella. Manella still with it. Kaye lofted in for Edwards, and he heads it wide. Toronto maintaining the attack even after the corner is cleared, and they continue the onslaught of pressure in the opening 22 minutes.
Yeah, it was good place from Manila there. It looks like he almost overruns it. He nicks it out wide, and we need a Skylar on the end of that and not Edwards, but great play from TFC.
Sharpie, watched there by Alvarez. Sharpie will retreat deeper into his own territory. Now dispossessed by Alvarez. Martinez left it there for Zahorski. And Toronto will counter with Chapman. He's taken out there as his pass for Simonin misfired. Now Jackson. That's Kalungi working against Edwards. Kalungi crossed in. Thomas is able to bring it down for Toronto, and Mark-Anthony Kaye will slowly push it forward with Luca Uccello. And Edwards. Comes for Manella. Here's the back pressure of Zahorski. And we'll flick it up the right side. Job will try to run onto it. Slogic, who has technically both goals this afternoon. He scored an own goal to give Toronto the lead, and then moments later headed home a corner and tied the game for Charlotte. Manella. Chapman. Through ball for Uccello. He's onside. It's stopped. Uccello gets it back and will send it out.
Oh, he has to score there. Great play from TFC. Chapman picks it up in the pocket. Good pass from Manila into him. This is the kind of places TFC want Chapman to get on the ball. We'll see it here. Chapman picks it up there, puts it through the defender's legs. Great diagonal run from Uccello. He does everything right except for score, and then he makes a mess of the rebound. Credit does have to go to the keeper there. That was good goalkeeping. He was off his line quick and made himself big.
That's John Berner, who's bailed out his defenders on that occasion.
Brave goalkeeping, because I think he's got a mask on there, so if he takes one right off the mush on his broken nose, I don't know how happy he'd be about that.
Babuli unable to run that down. Duckett trying to clear it off. Edwards is able to keep it in bounds. Kaye, Chapman, Manella, and Kaye. And Kaye mishandles. And this will roll out. Zahorski will headed that forward, winning the battle against Mark-Anthony Kaye, but it's Simonin who is able to handle it. Manella, his pass under pressure is wide of Mark-Anthony Kaye and gives another throw in for the Independents. Kalungi will switch the field here, headed over by Jerome, and that's Slogic. Taken down in the back from Job. Free kick, Charlotte.
Buba there goes chasing on his own. It's important he's patient and sits in with his midfielders. He doesn't need, there's no need to go chase the ball like that because he'll just get played around. And now it's led to a free kick right on the edge of the box nearly. Just prior to that, TFC, Matt, had a couple of sort of sloppy passes, and it's important those simple passes are crisp and quick. You can hear Jason shouting from the bench. He wants that sharp and then to change the point of attack.
So Charlotte will take their time with this one as well. There's a four-man wall. It's taken quickly now. Trying to catch Toronto off guard was Alvarez. Roberts, easy to save it and quick to push it out. Bully, Thomas, Sharpie. Job, one touch Chapman. Pushes in for Job. Now Uccello. Uccello with a strike, and it's Berner who dives across and makes a save. That one a much better attempt from Luca Uccello. Jerome. And Duckett. It's Jerome once more. Long ball looking for Jackson. And Simonin will run it down. Edwards. One touch Manella. Manella with some space in midfield. Will push towards the middle. Chapman. Babuli. Sharpie does well to keep that in there. Manella. Uccello. Babuli. Unable to get a second touch. One back by Manella, but not legally, says the referee. Enzo Martinez draws that foul. Ribeiro and Babuli with some shoving there. As the Charlotte captain taking exception to the actions of TFC's leading scorer. Babuli will attempt to run this down, but Berner is quicker to get out to it and push it up the pitch. Job, Slogic working against him. Job is able to get it around the Charlotte defender for Chapman in the middle. Chapman pushes that back for Manella, unable to find his captain. Cello frees it up for Wesley Sharpie. Slogic steps up assuredly there.
It's a good battle over there between the left back and Job. He's not the most orthodox looking left back, and he's been in all the action scoring at both ends. But I think that's a spot where TFC could have some joy down the right-hand side with Job.
There's Edwards. Good defending there from Kalungi. Edwards wins it back. Edwards will move on now. There's Chapman. Push back for Simonin. Now Thomas.
Stay Mark, stay Mark. Higher, higher. Come on, come on.
Long ball up the left side from Mark Anthony Kay. He runs onto it onside. Will attempt to cross in and just out of the reach of Jay Chapman. Simonin steps up to maintain the pressure for Toronto. Manella. Chapman. Edwards tries a one-touch for Chapman. Sliding challenge there from Manella is avoided by Jackson, and Jackson will push forward in the counter from Charlotte. Edwards wins that back for Toronto, and now Kay. And Raheem Edwards, once again, you'll never find a harder working Toronto FC player than Raheem Edwards, and he's shown that again in the first half.
Yeah, you don't normally see wingers like that work hard on both sides of the ball. He gives everything, and he's got a little bit of quality as well. He's a good young Canadian player. Another player I've been impressed with today is Simonin. He comes out of the back four almost like a quarterback. And we saw a great diag in behind to Kay before, but he took it just an extra touch which slowed up the play.
Babuli able to head that forward. No one else there from Toronto. Simonin, of course, as we've mentioned, one of the 3 first-round picks from Toronto FC in the 2015 MLS Super Draft. The others that are on this roster are Skylar Thomas and goalkeeper Alex Bono. Bono hasn't played much this season. Simonin hasn't played a ton either, but Skylar Thomas has been a fixture for this club. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Roberts patiently sends it over to Simonin. Pass for Uccello, intercepted by DePiccolo. There's DePiccolo again, and Manella is able to.
I think that's the reason why possibly we see Simonin at this level. All game he's been so comfortable, and then he steps out there, tries to strike with his right foot. It doesn't quite come off, but I think if you do that in the first team and you're playing against players like Didier Drogba and top center forwards, I know TFC next play Seattle, he'll get punished for mistakes like that, whereas at this level, he can kind of get away with it.
This played out to touch by Charlotte, thrown in for Uccello. Mark Anthony Kay. Now Edwards. Edwards looking to attempt to cross. Instead, delivers for Uccello. Uccello with a strike, headed away by, I believe that was Duckett. And it's off his head and out of bounds. And it will be a 5th Toronto corner in this opening half an hour. Just over half an hour. We're about 31 and a half played here at Toronto.
That was good play from TFC there. They had an extra man. They were 3v2 there. They were patient, waited for the right opportunity. Luca cut inside and got a good shot off. It was a good block there from the Charlotte player.
Bully crosses in. Thomas looks to get ahead to it. There's a whiff from Jackson and will allow Toronto to possess again, and Babuli sends it into the middle, and it was going to be another Toronto corner, but a foul called on Jay Chapman will negate that. Will be a free kick for Charlotte from inside their area here.
That was a little bit sloppy from Mo there. There's no need for him to do it. Now it relieves the pressure, and Charlotte now can build from the back.
Burner sends us past midfield. Simonin goes up with Zolinski. Skylar Thomas over for Wesley Sharpie. Job. Now Simonin. For Babouli. Babouli does well to stay on side. Babouli into the area. Will delay. Now he turns, still with it, and his cross is deflected off by the Charlotte player, and it will go out for another Toronto corner here. Good bit of work there from Mo Babouli.
Yeah, great ball from Simonin over the top there. We see that wand of a left foot of his. Mo gets hold of it. He's got him squared 1v1, which is what we need to get the shot off. Possibly could have gone square to Luca. Luca made a good run into the box. But I think, as you say, the 6th corner here for TFC.
Babouli plays it low, and Thomas got ahead to it. Chapman had it for an instance, and it comes to the near sideline. Luca Uccello will run it down. Uccello crossed in, is deflected by Ribeiro, and it will come back for Ribeiro now, and he will attempt to clear it. Manella able to get it back for Toronto. Manella, nifty footwork there, maintains it. Kay. Now Job. Chapman sends it out to the right flank for Sharpie. Babouli. Uccello and Edwards. Edwards still with it. Edwards crosses, looking for Job. Burner is able to leap and bring it down.
Good goalkeeping there. You hear the loud shout from him. He comes across and picks it up. One thing I like about TFC's front three right now is they're quite flexible. It's not as static as it has been in past games. You'll see Edwards pull up on the right side at times, and Job coming over here. Chapman, he's not sitting in front of the back four like the other day. He's sort of finding the pockets where he's dangerous.
Here's Ribeiro. 34.5 minutes played here. There's a flurry of goals, you could say, in the first 10 minutes. An own goal from Patrick Slogic, and then a couple of minutes later, he was able to score for his own team and equalize. That was about the 11th minute, I would say, and we've had nothing since then. Good pace of the match so far, though, through 35 minutes. Toronto has been carrying the play offensively. They've had the majority of the offensive opportunities. And aside from one stellar save from Quillen Roberts that led to the corner, that led to the goal, he has been relatively untested in the Toronto goal. Here's Uccello, and he's dispossessed there, and Ribeiro will counter for Charlotte. All USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. Jerome, Alvarez, Jackson. Jackson working through. Simonin is there and will counter quickly. There's Edwards, Babouli, Chapman. Babouli. Push through. I think he was looking for Edwards there, and it is intercepted by Duckett. Simonin pulls this down. Thomas. Uccello. Edwards, a little bit of an aggressive challenge there as he tried to get the ball back. Kalungi. And now a Toronto player down. It's Chris Manella.
Yeah, I think it was an accidental finger to the eye there. Nothing serious.
The training staff of Toronto, as of yet, not been called onto the pitch. The Charlotte player there is Paolo Di Piccolo, looking to help Chris Manella in any way he can. Terry, this will give us an opportunity, sort of clear our thoughts and take a look at what's been going on in this opening 36, 37 minutes. It's been an impressive showing for Toronto so far.
Yeah, it has been, Matt. I think you summed it up quite well before, where we had a fury of goals, and then the last maybe 15 minutes, a lot of the play's been sort of between the two boxes, but there's been a lot of great soccer. Toronto have kept the ball a little bit better than Charlotte, but Charlotte have defended stoutly, and I think TFC need to be a little bit better and a little bit more creative on their set pieces. They've had now 6-7 corners and haven't really troubled the keeper on any of them. Maybe an option B could be to go short.
And defensively, what have you liked from Toronto so far?
I think Toronto at the moment, the back four is playing a good line. They're not too deep, so there's not a whole bunch of pockets at the minute for the Charlotte players to pick the ball up and in play. And like the other day, they're pressing at the right times. They're not, other than the one time when Job sort of pressed on his own there, the players are waiting for the right opportunity to go and win the ball back. And if you win the ball back in the Charlotte half, you're only 40 yards away from goal, or 30 yards, and you create this, like in soccer they call it transition, and TFC are getting good opportunities in transition, and just sort of need to take one of them, or whether it be the final pass or a little bit of magic at the edge of the box.
So Chris Manella back on now. So he's cleared up whatever eye issue he had. And Mitchek Jerome from the Independents was just on the sideline. Looked like he might have been taping up his knee. And he has been permitted to rejoin play now. Jerome swung across for Ribeiro. Mark-Anthony Kaye goes up to get that away from Kalungi. Raheem Edwards as well. Edwards will push it on himself. Now finds Babouli.
Again, we see it there. Great tenacity from Edwards. He's half the size of the player. He had no right in winning that ball, but just that want to win and the want to keep the ball gets it for him.
Sharpie attempted cross is blocked by Slagic. And Charlotte will be able to counter here. Good defending from Thomas. Was unable to dispossess Zahorski, but force him to move it into an area that Toronto was able to win it back.
Tyler's so strong in those moments where he's 1v1 with the defender. Very rarely you see him lose that battle.
This comes down for Chapman. He and Ribeiro have been battling in midfield for this entire first half. They've had some good battles there. Uccello unable to find Mobabuli.
Both teams are getting just a little bit tired now. It's important you keep the ball and don't give it away cheaply.
Here's Jackson. Mark-Anthony Kaye pleads for a foul, and he does get the call there as Jackson gave a little bit of a tug on the shoulder on his way around. It will be a free kick for Toronto. We've got about 5 minutes to go before halftime here.
Yeah, it's an important time of the game. No team are going to want to concede at this stage, going in 1-0 down after putting so much effort into the half. That was good 1v1 defending from Kaye there, Matt. A lot of defenders will stay off him and let him put that cross in and won't put themselves out there and defend like he did there.
It's going to be Roberts who will take the free kick here. Pushes up for Edwards. Kalungi is able to come up over him to win it, but it's sent out of bounds by Duckett. Okay, played in for Edwards and receives back. Edwards, nifty play right through the legs of Kalungi, and Babouli able to get around his man as well. Nothing materializing yet for Toronto. Martinez pushed down by Chapman and wins the call.
Yeah, Chapman didn't need to do that there. He was a little bit overeager, but great play before from Edwards and Mo Babouli. Probably the one thing missing from Mo's game is that half yard of pace to get him behind. It was a great bit of skill there, but you can see the defenders able to get back on him there. That's something you see on a Brazilian beach, but great play, but he just needs to be able to get away from him afterwards.
There's DePiccolo. Simonin does well to step up and intercept for Toronto, and will look to begin the counter for the Reds. There's Mark-Anthony Kaye. Edwards. Edwards looked to have been pushed off the ball, but does enough to give Toronto a fighting chance to get it back. And now it's taken by the Charlotte player and sent back towards his goal. And I think Edwards whistled for a foul here as he clipped the foot of DePiccolo. There's some members of the First Club management team we know that are in attendance here this afternoon. Tim Bezbachenko, the general manager of TFC, and head coach Greg Vanney in the crowd here this afternoon is the City of Vaughan and the Ontario Soccer Centre celebrating their partnership here with TFC2. And so members of the brass are in attendance, and that's important for these young players to put on a good showing in front of the men who make the decisions for the first team.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for the players. I know when I was playing, you say you don't know they're up there, but you can definitely feel the eyes of the big bosses up there who do make the decisions. And when they see you firsthand like this, you know, they're always keeping their eye out, and you might do something that just sort of is that little bit more than you do in training that might get you the opportunity in the first team.
There's Chapman with a left-footed strike, and it's over the goal. And Jay Chapman's a player who spent a good portion of the season up with the first team, and he's looking to show there that he belongs back up there at some point this season as TFC make a push for the postseason in the MLS.
Yes, Chapman's had a couple of cameos in the first team. I don't think he's played a lot of minutes, but when the other players see him go and play in the first team, you think to yourself, yeah, it is possible, and you want to be the next Chapman going up there. And this is one of the great things about this league. These players are now playing 90 minutes rather than just watching the first team game yesterday and training all week. So they're able to show Vanney what they can do, and they can improve, and they can try things. And as long as they don't keep making that mistake and get better, then they have a chance.
It looks like we're going to need a substitution here for the Independents. That's the defender. It might be Jerome. I'm not able to see the number on his shorts, or it could be, I do believe it's Jerome. Or it might, no, excuse me, it's Henry Kalungi, number 25. He is being helped off by the trainer, and I saw the trainer motion with his hand to get a substitution ready, and we're going to see
The fourth official has indicated
Jack
a minimum
Thompson.
of 3 minutes has been added. 3 minutes has been added.
3 minutes of added time here in the first half, and Charlotte will need a little bit of a break in the play here to get their substitution in. They're right now playing a little bit short-handed. We'll see if Toronto can take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's the last thing that you want when you're a little bit tired.
And they're not able to take that advantage. There's a foul called there. Ribeiro plays it quickly. Edwards brings it for Chapman. Now Manella. Babuli. Manella. Sharpie. Babuli. Babuli still with it. Now Chapman tried a one-touch give and go. Here's Edwards. Edwards attempting to find Bouba Job. Simonin from distance, and it's played wide of the goal. Good idea there, though, from the center back.
Great strike from him there. Maybe a little bit over-ambitious, but there's nothing wrong with shooting. Just on the play before that, we saw Mo pick the ball up out wide there. And for me, when you're playing up front on your own there and you're the target man, you need to sort of stay in the middle between the sticks, so you've got someone to play off, a focal point, really. And a couple of times just before that, Job crossed the ball in and there was nobody there.
Headed forward. There's Martinez. He has Jackson with him. Jackson tries to cross in. Simonin able to get the right foot up, and will push it out of bounds. There's DePiccolo. Mark Anthony Kaye won it back, but it will be another Charlotte throw here. Lofted in. Thomas will clear it out. DePiccolo goes up and comes down hard after some contact from Raheem Edwards. Duckett pushes forward with the head. Manella meets it. Ribeiro will head back forward, and Martinez unable to bring that down. Simonin. Chapman can't get around Slogic.
Chapman does really well there after he loses the ball with a heavy touch to go back and win it. That sort of thing is what will impress Fanny.
And Edwards able to get around Slogic. Edwards still with it, and his touch is just a little heavy. The ball remains loose, however, and Edwards is going to be attempt to be contained here by the referee, and now we see a lot of pushing and shoving, and Mark Anthony Kaye coming in with the defense of his teammate. And everybody coming together now as the Charlotte players unhappy with the contact that Raheem Edwards made with the goalkeeper. I'm not sure there's much that Edwards could have done to avoid the contact there. He was going for the loose ball, and the keeper just happened to dive out on it quicker than Edwards could get to it.
Yeah, you'll see Edwards does really well there. He takes a heavy touch here. It gets away from him just a little bit. He doesn't try to follow into the keeper. He just nicks him there, and then we see the Charlotte handbags come out.
It looked like the way he slid, he was actually trying to avoid contact with the keeper. It looked like he wanted to slide to get contact with the ball, but he sort of pulled that right leg in to avoid making contact with Berner.
Yeah, no, he's coming in at full speed, and it's not easy to get out of the way. A lot of players would just run into the keeper, but nothing malicious from Edwards there.
And so it looks like everything's been taken care of here. I don't believe there were any cautions issued by the official, and the officiating crew does a good job there to keep everything under control. And we'll likely see the halftime whistle to finish up this opening act of this game here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. It's a goal apiece. There's an own goal from Patrick Slogic, and then he equalized shortly after that to get us to our 1-1 scoreline. Toronto will be happy with this scoreline going into halftime.
Yeah, Toronto will definitely be happy. The last 10 minutes it went a little bit stagnant. We didn't see a lot of action in either goal mouth, but good half from both sides. Some good soccer play today.
Just one substitution made in that opening half. It was by virtue of injury. Henry Kalungi pulled out for Charlotte, and it's Jack Thompson who comes on for the visitors. As mentioned off the top, this is an important match for Charlotte as they're trying to chase down a playoff position in the Eastern Conference. Toronto looking to prevent that, and they have put in a good opening 45 minutes for the second game in a row. Jason Bent might say that this would be the best first half that they've played so far this season. After that, opening 45 against New York last week did not result in any goals. We've got Chantel Blais down at field level with Mark Anthony Kaye. Chantel?
Thanks, Matt. Mark, first time you're squaring off with this team. You guys got on the board first. They got back quite quickly. Overall thoughts on that first half?
I thought the tempo that we brought was pretty good. We've kept it pretty high, so we need to come out in the second half and do the same thing, but we did have a little lapse of concentration, and they scored right after, but I think after that we picked it up.
And what do you think the difference in the second half is going to be to get that goal again early?
I think we just need to keep wearing them out. Like, we're keeping the ball, the fans can see it, we're determining what we want to do with the ball, so I think that if we just keep pushing, we're going to come out with the result.
Good luck in the second half. Thanks, back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Chantel. That's Chantel Blais at field level with Mark Anthony Kaye giving his thoughts on the opening 45 minutes. There you take a look at the scoring summary from the first half. Slogic with an own goal in the 14th, and then a goal for his team in the 15th to pull things at level. We'll have the first half highlights and analysis, and then the second half coming up in about 12 to 13 minutes time. You're watching Toronto FC 2 and the Charlotte Independents on TFC Live.
A $50 deposit down today and receives a free pair of tickets to see Toronto FC take on Chicago Fire on September 26th. Once again, season ticket holders on the spot renewals for 2016. Season seats are now available. Visit the ticket sales tent to put a $50 deposit down today and receive a free pair of tickets to see Toronto FC take on Chicago Fire September 26th. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, TFC2 would like to thank the D-Row Foundation for participating in today's ceremonies. Thank you so much to the D-Row Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's focus your attention to the center of the field where we got a 6v6 going on. Let's cheer them on and let's have some fun out there. Come on, fans, let's hear you out there. Cheer them on. 6v6 out there. Let's hear it for these youngsters. Give them a hand.
And I know she'll be the death of me, at least we'll both be numb. And she'll always get the best of me, the worst is yet to come. But at least we'll both be beautiful and stay forever young. This I know, this I know. She told me don't worry about it. She told me love it. Boy, I love it. Oh, I can feel my face with all of you. Boy, I love it. Boy, I love it. Oh, and I know she'll be the death of me. At least we'll both be now. And she'll always get the best of me. The worst is yet to come. All the misery, my guess is everywhere. What deep in love? Yes, I know. Yes, I know. And I know. She told me don't worry about it. She told me don't worry no more. We won't go without it. She told me you'll never be alone. I can feel my face with all of you. Boy, I love it. Boy, I love it. Oh, I can feel my face with all of you. Boy, I love it. Boy, I love it. Boy, I love it.
Hey fans, let's hear them. They got 10 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Professionals now, but the transition has been completely fine for me, and I think I was ready for the step.
And what's your favorite part about coaching? Is it the relationship with the guys, still playing and coaching at a high level?
With the under-19s, it was different. I used to jump into training all the time. I'm getting a little bit older now, so it's not as possible. But I like all facets. I like being on the training ground. You know, I hold people accountable on the training pitch. Try to put on sessions that I would have enjoyed training in. But also the sort of camaraderie with the players, the locker room banter. All of that is nice. But you see certain moments. For instance, we had a game June 6th away to Harrisburg, and we would travel back the next day. And Liam Fraser, one of the senior academy players, that was his first game. It was his debut, and he was man of the match, in my opinion. Not just from our team, but both teams. And he didn't know I was behind him, and as he was walking away from the training ground, his father was there in the parking lot. And he gave him the biggest embrace, and they come from a football family, so they would have known how much making his debut as a professional player would have meant to him. And the biggest smile just came, and it was a really good moment. They don't know that I was there, but I saw it, and that's a big thing. You know, when you can see a young player finally break through, a homegrown player, it means a lot. So little things like that can go a long way.
And this season, Toronto FC 2, first time in the USL, 9 games left. What needs to happen for this season to be a success for you?
We need to win back-to-back games to start off with. You know, we've not been able to do that, and that shows a level of consistency. Players at this level, they need to be performing at 7, 8 out of 10, game in and game out. And we've seen this year where we've had a couple players, a handful, perform really, really well, and in the next game, not so good. And we need to get that level of consistency individually and collectively in order for us to reach sort of our targets. We would love to make the playoffs, for sure. We've got a long way to go. If we can reach a playoff level, great. If not, hopefully we've learned a lot over the course of the season. But ultimately, my job and my goal is to produce players for the first team and get them that step. So that's always in the background of our thoughts.
And if you were to go back and give yourself advice at the start of the season, what would you say?
I would say that be open and embrace the amount of gray hairs that you're going to get. So that definitely, as you can see, that definitely happened. No, to be honest with you, it's more about the communication in tough times. You're still a head coach. You still have to deliver a message, whether positive or negative. And sometimes that can be difficult when you've had a performance that you're not so happy of and the result wasn't the best and the players didn't perform as you anticipated. It's difficult to then find the words that moment right after the game where you need to give a message to the group. And I think most coaches would attest to that fact that that's a very difficult time, especially for someone who's sort of mellow and withdrawn. I really don't want to speak to anybody after the game. I still have to speak to you, which is nice. But also I have to address the players as well, and that can be difficult.
And lastly, what's something about yourself that people wouldn't necessarily know that you want people to know?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What's something about yourself that people don't necessarily know that you wouldn't mind people knowing? Doesn't have to be soccer related. It could be a fun fact about yourself.
I love hip hop. I go to a lot of concerts, reggae as well. It's a big part of my culture, a big part of my upbringing. So, you know, Jay-Z, I love Jay-Z. Everything about him is top, man.
There you hear it from hip-hop aficionado and Jay-Z fan Jason Bent. A great interview from our Chantel Blais. We hope to have the full, that was part 2, of course. Part 1 was last week that we saw during the halftime against New York. We hope to have that full interview up on TorontoFC.ca at some point this week. Terry, it's a first half that Jason will not likely be complaining about 99 problems about.
That was too easy. Nice though.
Let's take a look at the highlights from the opening half. As we see, there's a good save from Quillen Roberts. This led to a corner kick, and it was resulting in a goal right after that. You weren't terribly impressed with the defending from Skylar Thomas on that corner kick that led to the goal.
The marking could have been a little bit better there. Great opportunity there. That was probably TFC's best move of the half. Luca gets in behind and could have done a little bit better.
So overall, a good performance from Toronto. They were really pushing the pace offensively, I found, and the back line did well when called upon. There wasn't a whole lot of instances where they needed to be incredibly sharp, but they were solid when called upon, and that back four have really done a good job, especially Clément Simonin, in really creating a strong transition game for Toronto.
Yeah, the back four has been really solid. They'll be disappointed. It actually happens in soccer way too much, where you score, you work so hard for that goal, and then you lose concentration, and the team goes down right the other end and scores. But Simonin, he started some attacks off. His diagonal pass is very cultured, and he can hit it 60, 70 yards into Job or into Edwards. Also, he plays a good ball through the lines into Mo, and Mo's holding the ball up well and bringing Chapman and Luca into play.
Now, it wasn't too much of a chippy affair. We did see a couple of instances between Andrew Ribeiro and Jay Chapman in midfield. The two of them had some words, Mo Babouli in there as well. We saw that more elaborated scuffle at the end of the first half with Raheem Edwards making some contact with goalkeeper John Berner. Do you see any of that carrying into the second half at all?
No, I don't think so, but that's good for these players. It's important they keep their discipline, and playing in a league like this is much better than, say, playing in a reserve league. And when there's big points at stake and playoffs at stake, you're going to see players lose their cool and try to protect one another, and that's all part of the game.
As we've mentioned a couple of times, this is a big game for Charlotte. They sit 3 points out of the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. They do have 5 more games after this one. They've got a game in hand on Pittsburgh, so they need the 3 points here this afternoon. But Toronto would like the 3 points more, I'm sure, as well. And head coach Jason Bent is at the sideline at field level with Chantel Blais. Chantel?
Thanks, Matt. Jason, tie game, fast-paced energy. Overall thoughts on that first half?
Overall, I thought we created a number of pretty good chances, a few one-on-one situations with Raheem as well as Luca. I just think we need a little bit more conviction in terms of in front of goal and trying to get that next goal that can settle us down.
And how do you think the team can get the next goal and protect the win if that does happen?
I think the game's there for the taking. You know, if we continue to possess the ball and up our ball speed, we'll continue to create some more chances. We have to be careful of them on the break, that's for sure. The big boy Patrick Slogic as well on set pieces. We knew about that before the game, but sometimes you can't stop everything. But, you know, we can't give silly giveaways in our own defensive third.
Good luck in the second half. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Chantel. We have a couple of substitutions here, one on each side. We see right now it's number 14, Rafael Cox, who is entering the match for Charlotte, and he is coming on for Carlos Alvarez. That's the second substitution made by Charlotte. And the first substitution for Toronto, it's Amika Ononye. He is entering. Clément Simonin will be subbed out. So last week we saw him play 30 minutes. This week we see him play 45 minutes. He hasn't played a lot of football this season, so slowly trying to work him in. And the coaching staff knows that he's an important piece, not only for TFC2, but for Toronto FC first team as well. So no need to rush his return from injury right now.
Yes, it's important you don't rush players back. You normally see them start at 45, but they're definitely wrapping them in cotton wool and 30, then 45, and then possibly in the next game we'll see him play 60 or 90. But he didn't look like he was lacking any fitness and looked very, very comfortable on the ball.
Yeah, certainly. He had a strong showing last week against New York, and it was very strong this afternoon as well. So it looks like Clement Simonin is right on track to be returning to a main fixture on the back line of either TFC2 or the First Club, which we've seen him play up on as well. That's a team that, you know, they won yesterday 2-1, but a team that people have sort of been criticizing the defending all season, and a player like Clement could be useful down their playoffs drive.
For sure, Vanni tonight can only be impressed with what he's seen. He had one time we got a little bit sloppy, but he looked good tonight. His replacement too is a good player, Anonye. He's a good young Canadian player, and what we've seen from him this year, he's a bit like Skylar. He's strong. He likes to defend, and so it'll be good to see him play 45 minutes.
And Skylar Thomas and Anonye we see with the ball right now. They've played a lot together this season. They certainly have a good rapport as those center backs for Toronto FC2. It's going to be a free kick one here from Toronto, and guess who? It's Raheem Edwards right in the thick of things. He was nicked a little bit there by Patrick Slogic, and it will be a good opportunity here for Toronto from a good spot here. And the Charlotte players making sure that the Toronto players know exactly where that free kick is supposed to be taken from.
Yeah, this is a fantastic angle for a free kick. What he'll be trying to do is he'll aim the ball at the back post, and if it misses anybody, it should go straight in.
It's Mo Babouli who will take it. He will loft it in. Thomas is there, gets a foot to it, and it's easily handled by the keeper, and now down goes the keeper again. Thomas did make some contact with him. Did not look to be anything substantial, and Jack Berner is down on the turf once again.
Fantastic curling free kick there. Skylar does well. He muscles him out of the way, and he snatches at it with his right foot there. He possibly could have gone with his left. Anywhere else but at the keeper is a goal there.
The sun has broken through the clouds here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. It's a very, as Terry mentioned in the first half, humid this afternoon. Not a lot in terms of breeze providing relief for these players.
Yeah, we saw quite a high tempo first half for the conditions. So last 20 minutes, we might see one or two substitutions and players starting to tire, and we'll see hopefully a lot of opportunities as well.
Manella gets to it first with the header. There's Chapman. Chapman played in for Babouli, and offside flag is up. Easy call for the official there. Babouli just a little bit ahead of the play there.
Right idea though, Chapman. That's where he's at his best when he's running at the back four. Very good with the ball at his feet, and a lot of players run and they're looking at the ball. Chapman seems to be able to keep his head up, see what's around him, and that's a sign of a top player.
There's Slogic. Slogic shifting from a left back to a right back position. That was after the substitution of Jack Thompson coming on. Looks like Jack Thompson will be the left back here. It was Henry Kalungi who was the right back who was injured, and so Slogic will slide over in the formation for the Independents here in the second half.
Yeah, Slogic shown he's a versatile player, which is important in your squad. It helps a manager when you get injuries or you need to make a substitution or suspensions, when you've got players that can play in numerous positions.
Slogic will throw it in here. Thomas, excuse me, that's Anonye, who is able to get ahead to it. Crossed in again. Now it's Thomas with the header, and Chapman will get a foot to it. And there's a foul called here on Charlotte.
Slogic also has a long throw as well, which can be a good weapon and really tough to defend. As you've seen in the Premier League over the last few years, it's Stoke used to use it. I know they've changed their ways a little bit, but from a player's standpoint, defending it can be a nightmare at times.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times. If they have a free kick down close to the area, he'll come in and just sort of try and throw it right into the area to create that scoring opportunity. There's Manella. Some pressure coming from Dupicolo. Sharpie. It's knocked out by Thompson. The intended target was Bouba Job. Babouli up for Job. Job will run onto it. Job into the area. First touch is a little heavy. He's able to stop and maintain, and now it's poked away by Thompson. There's Edwards.
that was good awareness before from Mo to let the ball run, and he played Job in, but the defender showed a good turn of pace as well and was able to stay with him.
Chapman and Sharpie. Sharpie crossed in, headed down by Jerome, and this will go out for a corner. Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub. Toronto did well to win. I believe we had 6 corners counted for Toronto in the opening 45 minutes, and this is the first of the second half. Babouli will play it in. Anonye goes up to try and get a piece of it. It comes down to Manella. There's Mark-Anthony Kaye. Babouli. Babouli works around the defender. Babouli with a strike and a save from Jack Burner will force another Toronto corner.
Great bit of skill there from Mo. Look, defender thought he was going to go on his right foot there. He chops inside, comes in on his weaker side, and gets a good shot off there. Keeper tips it around the corner. I think we're going to see it again here. We just see the end of it. The keeper almost misses it, but just is able to glance it over.
Babouli will swing this in again. Jerome will head it out. How difficult is it to defend a player who's that dangerous with both feet? There's Edwards with a scissor kick attempt there, and made some contact with the defender. An easy call for the referee.
A bit of dangerous play. Yeah, but players that can go both ways are so difficult to defend. Normally what you do is you try to show them to his weaker foot, but there he's just, Mo's cut inside. He puts him on his weaker foot, but when Mo can strike it with his left foot like that, he can be dangerous.
Thomas does well to step up and intercept. Uccello, some pressure in the back from Zahorski. Now Babouli plays through for Job. Job with a quick strike from a bad angle. Burner will handle it easily, but a good idea there from Bouba Job, excuse me, to force Burner to make the save.
Yeah, for sure. And again, good play. They got Mo in the pocket there. He showed good awareness. He turned without even taking a touch, the ball speed, and then slips in Job.
So we'll go up to a Toronto throw. Kaye plays in for Chapman. Anonye. Quillen Roberts not used to being the less busy of the two keepers. It's normally the play down in his end of the pitch, and he's the one being forced to make several saves. This afternoon, however, it's been his counterpart, John Burner, who's needed to be sharp, as Toronto's frequently been applying the pressure in the attacking third.
For goalkeepers, though, that's one of the mental side of it, when you've not had action all game, and then all of a sudden, Charlotte will break down and cue's called upon. He's got to be ready.
Job took a tumble there over the feet of Cox. Anonye with a push to the Charlotte player who's lost the boot and has his hands covering his face now. And Quillen Roberts will play this out to touch to allow the medical treatment for the Charlotte player.
At first look there, it looked like it was a foul, and Anonye might have got away with one. The center forward got across him, and he was sort of pushed to the ground by Anonye.
Let's see if we can get another look here at exactly what transpired.
Yeah, for me there, it's a foul. The contact comes from behind. It's not shoulder to shoulder, and the referee let one get away from him there.
So a fortuitous non-call there for Toronto.
Having said that, though, I think there was a foul on Joe before that they didn't call. Maybe the ref was trying to even things out.
This is thrown straight out by Raphael Cox to allow Quillen Roberts to get the goal kick here. Don't forget to become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Long ball played forward, well out of reach of Jay Chapman.
Good forward run from midfield there. That's another way you can score goals. Kaye overhit the pass, but definitely a good run from Chapman.
Some contact there coming from Enzo Martinez, and will be a Toronto free kick. And looks like the Charlotte players might be starting to get a little bit frustrated as they feel some of the calls are either going against them or are not properly going their way.
Yeah, it's been a couple lazy fouls from Charlotte. Again, that was definitely a foul. There's no need for the player to do it. Charlotte, don't forget, only played a few days ago in Montreal, so they might be a little bit tired as the game goes on as well.
Yeah, Toronto, after playing 5 games in 15 days, had 7 full days off after their loss to New York last Saturday. There's a great footed strike from Martinez, easily handled by Roberts, and Martinez immediately turns around to complain to the official.
Sometimes as a player, I've done it myself. When things aren't going well, it's not your fault, it's always the refs.
Of course.
Yeah.
Never your own fault.
Or the pitch, but it's tough when the pitch is perfect like this.
Yeah. That's thrown into Jackson. Ribeiro tries to play through for Slagic. Manella. Chapman. Kay. Zanonier. Uccello. Sharpie. Job. Uccello. Sharpie.
Great play from TFC there in a tight space. They come out the other side, and now they'll attack down here. Good overlap from Kay as well coming up.
That's chipped in for Chapman, and it's a goal! A scoop of Chapman's on a hot summer day. Toronto's got a 2-1 lead.
What a goal there from TFC. Fantastic play. It was probably the end of 30 passes. They've gone from one side back to the other.
And that play all starting with the excellent work from Wesley Sharpie right in front of us. And Raheem Edwards in the thick of things as well. And Jay Chapman with an excellent finish.
We see a good forward run there from Chapman. He tried it a little bit before. The pass wasn't great from Kay. There he connects with a pass and cool finish. Slides it past the keeper.
Terry, I can't tell you how excited I am that Jay Chapman has finally scored, and I've been able to use that line. I've had that one in the bank since he came back down to TFC2, and he's finally delivered for us.
Well, good timing. I'm glad you didn't waste it. And that's a great corner from Chapman. It's important now, though, TFC doesn't lose concentration like they did before. The next 5 minutes is so important. And as Charlotte begins to tire, I think other opportunities could come up. Also, as their record suggests, they're not great on the road as well, Charlotte.
As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, just one road victory this season, and it came Wednesday in Montreal. And we'll see another look at the work from Jay Chapman.
It was a good over as well. You see Chapman lets it run and then carries on his forward run and then slots it in.
Thomas steps up well, and Zahorski will...
You can see why Vanny uses Chapman as well the last 10 minutes when games at the MLS level become a little bit end-to-end. You can bring him on, and he picks the ball up in great places, and when he gets at the back four, he can definitely cause problems.
For Jay Chapman, that's his 3rd goal of the USL season. Correction, that's his 2nd goal of the USL season. 2nd goal for Toronto. And his first came all the way back in May, and then of course he had a stretch of nearly 3 months where he wasn't playing for TFC2. He was up with the first team exclusively. And then I believe this is his 5th game back now, 5th or 6th game back after that stint. He's pocketed a 2nd goal.
Once you score now and you're in this situation, a player who's quite important is the captain, Chris Manila. It's important that he organizes players around him and he doesn't go chasing around. He keeps his shape, and between him and the 2 center halves, they create a triangle that's tough to beat.
There's Chapman will receive this one again and let's try to start a quick counter for Toronto. There's Job. Job, we've seen some very nifty footwork from Bouba Job in the past. Look to display that again there as it comes to Chapman. He whips that across for Sharpie, and Sharpie unable to get to it.
Job, yeah, the Gambian, he's got great feet. for me, cuts inside maybe a little bit too much. I'd like to see him be a little bit more direct and go to the end line and really get at defenders. If I'm a fullback and he's running at me, that'd be the last thing I want. I actually want him to cut inside. It's easier to defend.
This cross coming in and easily handled by Quillen Roberts. We're going to see a Charlotte substitution in short order, and it will be their leading goal scorer, Ryan Finley, who's going to check in momentarily as Charlotte is once again find themselves behind in the game. And as we mentioned, they need these 3 points. They have 2 games in hand on Pittsburgh, just 3 points back of that 6th and final Eastern Conference playoff spot. But as the schedule nears its conclusion, every point is vital, and they know they need at least 1 here this afternoon to feel comfortable. To Piccolo, fights off Babuli, slides to keep that in. It comes to Cox, and now Ribeiro. Jerome. Duckett. To Piccolo, heads down. And Zahorski is taken down there by Uccello. Will be a good spot for a free kick.
Zahorski does really well there. He uses his body to feel the TFC player, gets in front of him, and the TFC player pulls him down.
And Zahorski, who just drew the foul, is going to be the one to come out for Charlotte. The 4th official hasn't made the announcement just yet, but I saw the numbers on his board.
I don't think we'll see a TFC change. Normally in soccer, you don't change on a set piece. He's ready to come on, but I'd be surprised if Jason does it on the set piece. He'll wait till after the set piece.
Yeah, it looks like both changes will wait until after the set piece, as I think they like the height of Zahorski. And that's headed up by Jackson, I believe. Zahorski was in the thick of things there, but
substitution in the
that will do it for his
63rd
match.
minute
He will be
by
subbed out,
Independence,
and it's going to
entering the
be
match, number
Ryan
20,
Finley coming in.
Thomas Zahorski.
We'll see how this
Entering the
changes
match, number 9,
the
Ryan
shape and the
Finley.
tactics of the Independents. And Toronto will be making the substitution shortly as well. It's going to be Rashawn Phillip making his first appearance for TFC2. And it's Bouba Job who will be
Substitution
subbing
in
out
the 63rd minute by
for Toronto.
TFC2. Exiting the match, number 61, Bouba Job. Entering the match, number 62, Rashawn Phillips.
Rashawn Phillip was added to the TFC2 player pool this week from the TFC Academy. So as we've seen a number of times this season, the Academy players will come up and get a couple of games with the USL club. We've seen it earlier this season with players like Liam Fraser and Kevin Tamashi, and even Nicholas Osorio has made some, and the brother Anthony Osorio as well, have made appearances from the TFC Academy. And it's Rashawn Phillips' turn to get some game action for TFC2 this weekend.
Yeah, it's great to see Academy players come through. He's got an opportunity now to see if he can do it at this level. Obviously, he's been able to do it within the Academy, and the entire TFC setup, I all train at the same training ground at Kia in Downsview, and they all know each other. They'll be used to each other. It's a fantastic setup here, and the transition to this team should be made easier by that.
Anonye sliding to clear that out of bounds. Is the player down on the pitch there not in an offside position?
The rules actually changed this year, where if you are in an offside position and the ball and you come into play, you should be called and it should be offside, whereas in previous years you wouldn't be. So he should have called him.
Easily handled there by Quillen Roberts. Gives us a chance to remind you to follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider, to join club conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. We're into the 65th minute here. Toronto holding a 2-1 lead. Raheem Edwards will try to run onto this, but it's John Berner who's able to come out and get a foot to it. Looked like a little bit of confusion and miscommunication among the Charlotte back four.
Good start for Phillips. He's won his first header and he's brought a ball out of the sky there. Great bit of skill. That'll do his confidence a world of good.
Edwards throws in for Manella. Switches now for Kay. Anonye. Under pressure from Finley, we'll send this all the way back to Quillen Roberts. Right back through the middle for Manella. Chris Manella, as you alluded to earlier, Terry, Chris Manella in midfield, just such a calming presence, always knows how to make the right decision with the ball and support those defenders so well. As Luca Uccello has run on now, he's onside, and that comes from Phillip, and it's deflected by a defender. And an interesting or intriguing opportunity there from Luca Uccello. He's had a strong game this afternoon as well. Missed an opportunity, a good opportunity in the first half, but he's been very assertive this afternoon, Luca Uccello.
Yeah, all three of them in midfield. Him, Chapman, and Manila have worked well together. Manila's been carrying a knock for the past 2 or 3 weeks and has tried to play and had to come off once or twice. So today it looks like that knock's cleared up, and it's probably one of his better games of the season, and good timing with Vanny here.
Manella spent a little bit of time with the first team as well this year. He's seen, I think, maybe a game or two final minutes.
Yeah, he's played in a couple of the international friendlies as well. And from what I've heard, he's comfortable at that level, and just developing and playing as many games as possible will hopefully take him to that next level. He could also be an important piece for Canada in the future as well. I know he's got a couple of caps at that and played a lot at the younger levels.
Yeah, he was a member of the Pan Am Games roster for Canada this year.
Again, it's great watching this, seeing so many Canadian players out there. In the week, I was watching the Amway Canadian Championships. Vancouver played Montreal in the final, and there was only one player playing. So to see so many Canadians here, it's great.
Mark-Anthony Kaye also represented, don't hold me to that. I don't believe Mark-Anthony Kaye represented Canada at the Pan Am Games this year, but he has been a good player for Toronto this season. Edwards, who did represent Canada, dispossessed there. Here's Skylar Thomas. Sharpie. One of the few non-Canadians on the roster, Wesley Sharpie.
Yeah, he's from Florida. He graduated from Florida University. I was talking to him the other day, and so happy to be in Toronto. He's a great professional and lots of enthusiasm. We've not seen a whole bunch from him today, but he's had a solid game and worked his tail off.
And Mark-Anthony Kaye has worked to win a corner kick for Toronto here.
Defensively, Skylar's so good in the box, and he wins everything. I'd like to see him now going forward if he can be have an attacking presence.
Babuli ready to send this corner in. It's a high one. Thomas is able to get ahead to it, but it's out of bounds. Wide of the goal will be a goal kick.
Yeah, he goes for goal there. He might have been better to go back across the net. Skylar, he reminds me of a player who was at TFC a year ago called Daniil Henry. He played 100 games for the first team, sort of came through the reserves. Similar to Skylar. He's now playing at West Ham, and Skylar's in a similar mode to him. Has a similar build to him, and you know, maybe once if he fills out, and I think he's got a really good chance.
Take another look at the recent corner here and the header from Skylar Thomas.
When the ball's at that trajectory coming down on you, it's tough to get much power on it. He's maybe better going back across to his teammates.
Got one down by Chapman. And Babuli will send it over for Edwards. Edwards is dispossessed, but Manella does well to win it back for Toronto. Keeps it in bounds on the near sideline.
That's exactly what you want from your defensive player at this stage of the game. He mops up after Edwards there and then plays simple, and they keep the ball.
Chapman to the left flank for Babuli. Babuli will push forward. Babuli still with it. Babuli carrying. There's a strike and a save from John Berner. Smo Babuli looking to open up a 2-goal advantage for Toronto. About 20 minutes to go here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Toronto leading Charlotte by a score of 2-1. A goal from Jay Chapman is the difference at this point. He scored in the second half. There's Edwards. Sharpie. Manella. Good communication from the Toronto players to warn Manella of the pressure, but he lost the ball nonetheless. There's Finley crossing in. Comes down for Martinez. His shot is blocked. There's a Charlotte player down in the area. Martinez cross deflects off of Chapman and will go out for a corner. And the Charlotte player is still down, and his teammate now is going to play the role of physiotherapist and stretch him out.
Yeah, that normally means he's cramping up, and the only thing to help that's the hamstring stretch.
There will be another substitution here for Charlotte. It's going to be Caleb Calvert entering the match, and Daniel Jackson will be exiting. Still not quite sure who that injured player down in the... Might actually be Jackson, who's scheduled to come off. So once he's able to get up onto his feet, well, he'll be substituted out. Take this opportunity to remind you, Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. As Daniel Jackson gets to his feet.
Substitution for Charlotte Independence. Exiting the match, number 16.
And so entering is Caleb Calvert.
Entering the
And
match, number 8.
Chantel overhearing for us that Jason Bent telling Wesley Sharpie to use a man marking on Caleb Calvert. So they clearly have identified him as a player that they want to focus a lot of a strong defense on.
I'm sure. Also, Sloggy, I think, would be the one I'd be keeping my eye on, the one who scored in the first half. Good intel from Chantel.
I see what you did there.
I'd been waiting to use that one as well.
Toronto will make another substitution here. It's Raheem Edwards coming out, Sal Bernal coming in. And I was extremely impressed with the play of Raheem Edwards this afternoon.
So was I. He'd be a nightmare to play against. He works his tail off both ways. You think you've got the ball from him, and he's coming right back at you. That never die attitude is fantastic.
Used as a substitute in recent weeks. He's now made a couple of starts in a row. And clearly that's a case of Jason Bent rewarding a player for tremendous work ethic.
Yeah, of course. You saw it with Luca as well. He had a good game, and he kept the shirt. The one thing Edwards probably needs to add to his game is that final ball or that finish when he gets his chance. But if at the moment he's doing great, and if he can just add that little bit more to his game, it'll take him to the next level.
Goal kick from John Berner, not a very good one, and it sails right out of bounds. Nearly took out our cameraman, Ellie. Ellie ducking for cover on the sidelines here. This comes over to Sharpie. Now Bernal, the recent sub, played through, and that was intended for Rashawn Phillip. A little bit too far for him.
Good effort there, but very good run from Phillip. He's pulled off the shoulder trying to get him behind, and that's how you hurt teams.
Ribeiro. Tackled by Babuli and wins the free kick. And we've seen this several times this afternoon. The referee not happy with the quick taking of the free kicks, really wants to slow them down.
Yeah, that nitpicking can be really frustrating as a player.
Especially for a team like Charlotte, as they enter this stage of the game, about 15 minutes to go, they're going to be wanting to be moving as quickly as possible, realizing that Toronto's going to be delaying as much as possible. So Charlotte needs to make every second count, essentially. Manella dispossessed there by DePiccolo.
A couple times Manella's been caught on it there where he's trying to go back and keep it, but the space is in front of him. If he checks his shoulder, just take the ball into the space, and all the defender then can do is foul you.
Ribeiro, Slogic, DePiccolo, nice one touch for his captain, Ribeiro. There's DePiccolo again. Comes back, and Mark-Anthony Kaye back in defense. Now Sharpie. His clearing attempt blocked by Jack Thompson. Thompson wins it back. There's Raphael Cox. He'll cross in. Looking for Martinez there. The referee waving it off as Chapman and Martinez come together.
Good play there from New York. They had a bit of, Charlotte. They had a bit of sustained pressure and possibly had a penalty appeal. I'd like to see that one again.
Looked like maybe a bit of incidental contact from Jay Chapman, but Jay Chapman seems like the type of player that no contact is really incidental. Everything he does out there is very tactical and has a lot of purpose.
Yeah, he's a very technical and clever player. One of the things I like about him is his awareness. He knows what's around him, and you see that with all the top players in the world. That's one of the things that separates them from others is that awareness, and it's tough to coach that.
Sharpie. Bernal. Thomas. DePiccolo, crossed in. There's an attempt from Martinez, easily handled by Roberts. And he will play it up quickly for Babouli, trying to catch Charlotte a little bit off guard here as they've pushed forward.
Good run from Bernal there, a better ball he's in. But before that, that was great hands from Q. He's not had a lot of action, but he didn't give a rebound out there. And then got straight back up and threw it out. Good distribution.
So for Toronto, they're up by a goal, and it's a season where they haven't had a lot of victories. And the victories they have had, it seems to have always, at least lately, been coming on late goals. So there hasn't been a lot of defending the lead for long periods of time and wrapping out wins in that way. Does the clock feel like it's almost moving at a half pace?
It does. It's a bit of a unique situation for TFC, as you said, but they won't want to be doing things like this, like they just did, and giving away silly free kicks that they don't have to. Normally in these cases, in the last 10 minutes, you tend to naturally sag back and get players behind the ball. But you can hear their coach shouting on Jason, trying to play a possession-based game and keep the ball.
Roberts missed that. Looked like he may have gotten just a piece of it. I'm sure he would have liked a cleaner touch there, but it comes over for Sal Bernal. And Wesley Sharpie will clear this out to midfield. And on the other side of the coin for Charlotte, I'm sure every time they look up at the clock, it feels like a lot of time has passed off, and they realize that they're running out of time, and the clock seems to be working against them.
Yeah, at this stage, if you're Charlotte, sometimes you can force the ball, like we just saw there, trying to get that goal. But you also can leave yourself exposed a little bit, so there might be an opportunity for TFC to get Phillips in behind.
Looked like that's what he was thinking on that earlier play. Mo Babouli deciding not to run the through ball. There's a cross from Martinez, headed away by Ononye. Mark-Anthony Kaye will hustle to collect it for Toronto. Pushing that forward, looking for Chapman. Slagic, his header falls right onto the boot of Mo Babouli. Babouli crosses for Bernal. He tries to push that into the area.
Great bit of play from Mo there. Composed, keeps the ball. Sal, he's the kind of player you want him one-on-one there, and he sort of takes the easy option and sort of half-hearted cross. Again, that's an opportunity where he could have taken him on 1v1.
Uccello, Manella, Thomas, Mark-Anthony Kaye. Uccello bumped off there. Referee looked like he would have given play on if Toronto had been able to collect the loose ball, but nobody in the area, so it will be a free kick for the Reds. All USL regular season and playoff games available live free and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. We thank you for joining us this afternoon from the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan. Matt Antonio, Terry Dunfield here, Chantel Blais working the sidelines. We're approaching 80 minutes played here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Toronto holding a 2-1 lead over the Charlotte Independents. Chapman looking to push that through for Rashawn Phillip. was intercepted.
Great idea there from Chapman. The ball on this turf slows right down. On grass, that's a ball that might have gone right through.
Some numbers moving forward here for the Independents. Finley, the club's leading goal scorer. There's that for Rafael Cox. And now Martinez will loft this in, looking for Calvert. It's a header, and it's right at Quillen Roberts. And Wesley Sharpie sort of claps his hands, a little bit of frustration there. We know that he's been told to man mark Calvert and gave him a little bit more space than they are comfortable with.
Yeah, I think I'd give credit to the Calvert there. It's a good header.
Phillip is onside. Rashawn Phillip moving forward. There's Babuli looking to take a one-touch strike, but good defense there from Andrew Ribeiro.
This isn't what TFC want right now. The game's stretched going end to end. They don't want it to turn into a track meet like this.
Roberts able to get to it quickly enough to push it up the pitch. But it's sent right back at the other. And Bernal go up. Thompson able to come down with it for Charlotte. Played through. There's Cox. The offside flag is up on the Charlotte Independents. And that will thwart one of their better scoring opportunities of the afternoon.
Yeah, that was poor from Skyler there. He got drawn out of the back four, and that created a hole there for the Charlotte center forward to run into, but the pass was delayed a little bit. That's why he was offside.
Substitution here for Charlotte. It's going to be the goal scorer from this afternoon, Patrick Slagic. He is coming out, and entering the match will be Jack Metcalf. And Terry, I mentioned earlier about Toronto, their victories coming late. Their last two victories, August 15th against Richmond, was the late winner from Massimo Mirabelli in injury time. Prior to that, their last victory was July 24th, 1-0 over Charleston, and that was Skylar Thomas with the winner in the 89th minute. So, as we mentioned, not a lot of sustained play of trying to hold a lead for Toronto FC, but they've done so for about a half an hour at this point, maybe a little bit less. And considering it's not something that they've had the opportunity to do that much this season, they've looked pretty well in doing so.
They're doing okay. The last 5 minutes, it's been a little bit edgy. They've given the ball away once or twice. Anonye lost a header and they almost got in. But they will get opportunities like this one here.
There's Rashawn Phillip. It was a through ball from Chapman. Comes for Sal Bernal. Bernal took a strike at it, and it was deflected out of bounds by Jack Thompson, and will go for a Toronto corner.
I would have liked to see Phillips be a little bit greedy there and take the defender on. He had him squared up there and get a shot off.
Substitution here for Toronto. Manny Aparicio will enter. Luca Uccello